Creative without strategy is called art, but creative with strategy is called advertising. This is well quoted by Jeff Richards. Hello everyone, welcome to XCEL, Digital Education in the Spirit of Magis. Today we will be starting with the course Introduction to Advertising and Public Relations. In today's session, we will be discussing about advertising management module. In this module, we have three important topics. What actually is advertising and the importance of advertising in our daily lives. Topic 2. As we know that consumer is the key to the advertising industry, we are next going to study some models of advertising that help to reach the audience by the advertiser. Here you will be exposed to theories like AIDA model, Dagmar, Starch with black box theory of consumer behavior. Topic 3. Creativity is an important element of advertising. Hence, we will further discuss how to create appeal in advertising. That refers to creative strategy and development in advertising. This will include how to be creative in layout and the production, like the steps of the layout, color psychology and typography. It is rightly said that good advertisement is not to say anything to sell everything, but to say everything to sell something worthwhile.
You see television commercials, hoardings, posters of products, services, and might be wondering that why is it in our vision?
Well, advertising can be easily defined as any paid form of non-personal presentation or promotion of ideas, goods or services by an identified sponsor. The two keywords in the definition of advertising is presentation and promotion.
So that means if you have a product in mind which you want to launch or increase the sales of the product, you have to make the product seen, heard and read.
Here, when we talk about production, presentation refers to an offering, while promotion talks about the communication of ideas and persuasion. Are you thinking why persuasion? Persuasion has always had a negative connotation attached to it, but this might not be true. According to the definition, it is just the effort of the advertisers to persuade the behavior and attitude of their potential customers.
A very well-known example could be a soft drink. Initially, when soft drinks were launched, they were considered as normal appetizers. But as time passed by, people became health conscious. That's why advertisers launched fruit drinks, less calorie drinks, and even energy drinks in order to satisfy the consumers. Hence, advertisers had to adapt to their intended audience for their market to grow.
Dorothy Cohen in her definition said, advertising is an activity which involves creative techniques to promote goods and services consistent with the achievement of their advertisers' objectives.
Dorothy Cohen even emphasizes on the mediated role of advertising. Here, the mediated role refers to the form of mass media used to deliver the message. Advertising is also said to be a tool that disseminates information about a brand. It is aimed at a large number of people at the same time, such as radio, television, newspapers, and magazines.
Borden and Marshall said that advertising involves activities by which oral and visual messages are addressed to selected public in order to inform and influence them to buy product or services.
I guess we all remember the famous tagline of LIC, Zindagi ke saath bhi, Zindagi ke baad bhi. This tagline not only signifies the importance of life insurance in our lives, but clearly states how it is going to be with us forever, acting as our caretaker in need.
There can be many ways by which we can formulate the definition of advertising. These were some basic understanding of the definition of advertising and how it is the understanding between the consumer and the advertiser. Further, we move on to the topic about how relevant is advertising in our lives. Now we will be talking about the importance of advertising in our daily lives. As we all know that advertising is one of the most popular marketing tools used by the marketers. In fact, it is so influential that people often identify marketing as advertising. Hence, advertising fosters marketing. The role of advertising in marketing focuses on the satisfaction of the consumer after he uses a product or service.
When it comes to products like smartphones, a consumer builds a relationship not only with the smartphone but with the brand as well. While marketing focuses on the exchange, advertising helps facilitate the exchange.
Advertising helps in raising the brand awareness. It is a great educator which helps in increasing the visibility of the brand. It is a great form of education. Every advertiser has something to share with the society, and every ad is a bit of information which has a theme behind it.
To convey the theme, the advertisement tells a story, narrates a history, gives enchanting illustrations that we have never heard and seen. For example, like an employer speaks of job vacancies and an ideal candidate solicits job. Parents hunt brides and grooms, announce of the arrival of a baby. The iconic Flipkart ad of the child behaving as adults. It is not much the advertisement of a company that sometimes matter, rather the narrative of child indulging in maturity that lends an attractive storytelling of the brand.
Advertising can influence a consumer's decision. Yes, one of the major influence of advertisement is that it can influence a consumer's decision and drive purchases. Advertisers introduce their product in such an influential manner that they can influence their potential customers.
Remember the offers that we get every time we visit a store? Buy this gift and get 50% off, or buy one and get one free. This means that a rupee paid has definite value received.
In addition, advertisements can educate their consumers about the product or service. They can inform about the price and take part in the present competition by showing features which are more beneficial than any other product.
That's why David Ogilvy, father of advertising and founder of Ogilvy and Mather, said that the idea that the function of advertising is to sell, and that successful advertising is based on information about the consumer of the product.
Now we move on to saying how advertisements creates and mirrors culture. Yes, advertisements involve elements from the film like camera angles, lighting, popular music, one-line jokes and slogans. It reflects the attitude and beliefs of the society in these ads. For example, in 1950s, house cleaning products in India were only pitched to women, whereas now it involves children and men in the 21st century. Even in fashion, crop tops and ripped jeans were not very popular earlier, but now they are a thing and they are a trend. This shows how advertisements reflects our culture. These were some examples to understand how advertisement plays an important role in our lives.
Advertising is a powerful tool that raises brand visibility, influences decisions, part of marketing, and reflects culture.
It's time for a short break, but before going to the break, we have a small question for you. Do you think advertising is persuasion? If so, then how? Stay tuned because we have the answer to this question after the break. Until then, good luck with your thinking caps on. Welcome back to XCEL, Digital Education in the Spirit of Magic. Before going to the break, I asked you if advertising is persuasive. Well, advertising is persuasive, but not with a negative note. It changes the buyer's decision towards a product. So now we move on to different advertising models, but before talking about models, we will learn about situation analysis. Analysis helps an advertiser to place his product in the minds of his consumer. When I talk about situation analysis, what comes in your mind? Probably there is a situation and you are analyzing it. Yes, it is that simple. Every advertiser has to keep certain things in mind before planning a message for his consumer.
Situation analysis is one of the most important determinants of planning and strategy. It takes into account a broad view of the organization from various perspectives. For example, selling winter garments in South India would be futile as South India hardly faces winter and is warmer than places of the country. Advertisements of pizzas, burgers, ice creams, and other junk food won't be seen worthy for health-conscious or fit people. The process provides the management with an insight into the marketing opportunities that exist in the external market and the weaknesses and challenges the firm has to take care of. It includes a political, economic, social, and technological analysis, popularly known as B.Sc.
Hence, an advertiser needs to do a thorough research on these dynamics before promoting his product. So now we move on to different advertising models like the IDA model and the Starch model. In 1923, Daniel Starch put forward the idea that in order to be effective, an advertisement needs to be seen, read, remembered, believed, and acted upon. Hence, people need to climb the ladder step by step, and advertising encourages them to do so. The first step is the exposure. The consumer needs to see the piece of information, he or she needs to understand it, and it should be credible in terms of satisfaction of need or desire.
For instance, the upper class consumer will look for a luxurious vehicle considering their financial status and position in the society. In other words, effective advertising is persuasive.
An alternative used by the professionals is the IDA model, which is attention, interest, desire, and action.
Quite similar to Starch model, it suggests that an effective ad is one that draws attention, leading to an interest, hence creating a desire to own that product, and finally leading to action, that is making up one's mind to purchase.
For example, if we take a perfume or deodorant ad, they are very provocative in nature because the consumer needs to understand its usage and then consider it for buying. Further, we move on to the Dagmar model. Russell Coley in 1961 in his book Defining Advertising Goals for Measured Advertising Results created a virtual storm in the field of advertising in 1960s.
All commercial communication must carry the consumer through 4 levels of understanding. The consumer must first be aware of the existence of brand or a company. Hence, a brand needs to be fitted into the consumer's mind. After that, he must have a comprehension of what the product is and what will it do for him. For example, a person needs to know how the washing powder helps remove stains in clothes and will do any good for him or her. Then he must arrive at a conviction to buy the product. This is referred as the state of decision making, where the consumer understands that he buys the detergent, he can reuse his clothes over and over again after washing them. Then finally, he must stir himself to action, that is the purchase of the washing powder or detergent.
The model which we are going to discuss now talks about the buyer's behavior. This is also referred as the black box model. However, there are many models to talk about this, but the one we are going to focus on is the black box model to understand the consumer's behavior. According to the model, antecedents are the inputs which trigger action and behavior is the result or the outcome.
The individual's mental process stands between the inputs and outputs that are not clearly visible. That is why these are described to be located within a black box that cannot be penetrated. If a salesperson rings your doorbell and you open the door to find out it's a salesperson, you might slam the door on his face. This could, however, lead to 2 conclusions. One is that the salesperson might think you have an aversion for personal selling. then the other might be that you're attending some urgent work, like a telephone call when the doorbell rang.
These models help in understanding how advertising motivates new behavior, reinforces their existing positive behavior, and neutralizes the negative behavior. The main purpose of advertising is to create actions beneficial to the advertiser. Well, now it's time for a short break. But before going for a break, I have a small question for you. Do you know what IDA stands for? Keep thinking, because after the break, we have the answer to it. Don't go too far. After the break, we are going to talk about strategy and creativity in advertising. Welcome back to XCEL, Digital Education in the Spirit of Magis. Before going to the break, I had asked you a question: what does AIDA stand for? Well, if you have listened thoroughly to the previous session, you must remember AIDA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Moving on to the next topic, we will discuss about using creative strategy in creating appeal in advertisement along with layout and production.
Albert Einstein said that creativity is intelligence having fun. Hence, it is essential to be creative in advertising messages.
In the context of advertising, there are two main areas: copywriting and graphics. The writers are very individualistic and highly sensitive members of the advertising team. In order to gain the best results, the writer and the designer need to have appreciation for each other's work. In fact, the writer needs to think like a visualizer and the visualizer like a writer to create appeal in the field of advertising. Hence, how to create appeal in the field of advertising? The selling message is the key communication proposition, also known as the appeal. There are several methods to create appeal in the field of advertising.
Abraham Maslow's famous model of the hierarchy of needs says the physiological, emotional, social, and self-actualization needs of a human being is used by writers to work over appeals based on fear, anger, hatred, love, social respect, and so on.
So now we will move on to discuss on some broad categories on how to create appeal in advertising. The first is the value approach. The advertiser makes you believe that you are not just buying the product, but its taste, its texture, its nutritional value, its ability to clean and make you look beautiful and healthy. These appeal, in fact, make the buyer's decision.
Many brands advertise combo offers, especially around festivals. For example, the offer could be get a microwave oven free along with a large size fridge.
Then comes the unique selling proposition, also known as the USP of the brand.
In the 1940s, Rosser Reeves came out with the concept of unique selling proposition, an advertising approach that stressed an unusual product benefit. For example, if a toothpaste could highlight its USP of toothpaste with clove oil or toothpaste with salt. When Maruti was launched in the mid-80s, its USP was its price and fuel efficiency, whereas now the manufacturers offer a number of appeals, including even emotional ties. Another example could be oats. When we say oats, we consider it to be a healthy food, but with the addition of masala oats, pepper and coriander flavors, a unique touch is added to it.
Another interesting strategy is the competitor's appeal. It is important to add the competitor's feature in the ad campaign. For example, Liril was the first to introduce the freshness of lime in their soap bars, but later Synthol and Nirma came up with the same type of concept. Now comes the appeal based on consumer research. Advertisers pick up cues from what the consumer wants from his product or service. For example, feminine hygiene products were earlier not aired because they were considered as taboo, but with passing time they are accepted and now aired on television for brand awareness. The two most important appeals are the rational appeal and the emotional appeal. The rational woos the reasoning part of the brain, focusing on the price, quality, value for money and performance. Emotional appeal tends to rouse positive or negative emotions like humor, fear, pride, guilt, shame, sex, pleasure, affection, status, etc. in a bid to drive purchase. So these were some basic strategies by which advertisers create appeal in the field of advertising. Now we shall discuss as to how creativity in layout and production helps gain consumers. Hence, what elements matter in a layout of a print advertisement?
First comes balance. That is a fundamental law of nature and life. Odd things stand out. Balance may be defined as a matter of weight distribution.
Advertisers feel that in an attractive composition, all the elements must be in equilibrium, and this can be only achieved through balance. Now we will talk about proportion, which involves the tone of the ad. That means the amount of light area in relation with the dark area, the amount of color required or the decision to avoid color. The eyes follow a particular movement, which is the result of our being in the habit of reading a particular kind of script from early on in our life. Now we will talk about unity, which is the unification of the layout. Every element in the ad should be in unity to form a composite whole. Mood can be contributed by sizes, textures, colors and the type all contribute towards creating mood for the ad. Pictures of photography create a feeling of immediacy, live action, speed, association, empathy and flexibility. Drawings are used in ads when the visualizer feels that their impact will be more than that of photographs. There could be of two types, line drawings or wash drawings. Colors are a very essential part of print advertisement. They stop the readers, create a mood, builds brand identity and creates realism. Designs bursting with vibrant colors leave behind emotional responses which are long-lasting in nature.
Colors bring out more details in picture than black and white ads do. Yet, black and white ads do command their own place. Ever wondered why so many diamond ads are black and white? The selection of color is also a science apart from art.
So, I will now tell you which color is used where to denote an appeal in advertisement, that is often referred to as color psychology.
Red. Red, a symbol of blood and fire, talks about passion, success and zest for life. It is a hot favorite with designers. That is why Valentine's Day or Christmas Day ads appear in red. Brown. Brown is a masculine color which is linked with warmth, comfort, maturity, earth and wood. Yellow. Yellow has high potential for catching a consumer's eye, especially when used against black or red. It is a primary color and hence can be reproduced in its pure intensity. I hope you remember the Kodak symbol. Green. Green symbolizes health and freshness. It is popular among nature products like Dabur Vatika. Blue. Blue symbolizes security and is considered fit for any situation. The State Bank of India uses the color blue. It is used in toothpastes, deodorants, washing powders and soap ads as well. Black. Black depicts sophistication, style and upmarket merchandising, lending a richness when used as a background. Whereas orange is a lively color often used for children's products and also for eatables. White. White is associated with light, goodness, innocence, and purity. It is considered to be the color of perfection. As opposed to black, white usually has a positive connotation.
Like color, the selection of the type is also essential in the decision of the design. Typography is the art and technique of type design and includes decision regarding typefaces, point size, line, length, leading, letter spacing, etc. Lettering in print ads has both functional and aesthetic roles. Its functional role is to convey a message through words, and its aesthetic role is to enhance the mood of the message and add to the ad environment. The type styles are chosen keeping in mind the objectives and strategies of the campaign.
The various type groups are Roman, which is considered reader-friendly. The most distinguishing characteristics of Roman type are that they have small lines or tails called the serif that cross the ends of the main strokes and the variation in the thickness of the strokes. Sans serif. Sans serif, also referred to as Gothic, has a large number of categories. Its typeface is characterized by the lack of serifs, unlike in Roman type, and uniformity in the thickness of the strokes. Square serif. Square serif combines the characteristics of both the Roman and sans serif typeface. However, square serif has the same uniform thickness of strokes that sans serif has. At the same time, it has serifs like the Roman typefaces. However, the serifs have the same weight and thickness as the main stroke of each of the letters. Cursive or script typeface. Cursive or script typeface resembles cursive handwriting. Since the letters are connected, they convey delicacy, empathy, and beauty. They have replaced calligraphy recently. Ads concerned with children and women products use this typeface to bring in the mood of softness.
Finally, we come to the end of this session where we have discussed three things. The first is advertising and its importance, like it creates brand visibility, part of marketing, influences decisions, and reflects culture. Then the models we discussed of advertising are the AIDA, that stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Then the Starch, Black Box, and Dagmar models, which help in understanding consumer behavior. Lastly, we discussed the most important thing in advertising, that is strategies like USP, competitors' attributes, their appeal, etc. that are used to create ads. Further, we discussed what elements, colors, type is used for what purpose in advertising, because the main purpose of advertisement is to attract consumers. That's all for today's session. To keep up with our next module and more interesting lectures, keep watching XCEL, Digital Education in the Spirit of Magic.